Hop Sing's got that wood stove all fired up, and that's a good thing because it's kind of cool this morning. He's going to feed us chicken fried steak and jalapeno gravy and a yeast roll and some cucumber salad and a glass of iced tea here in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at ag weather, and let's use the little burg of Floresville as our spotlight today. Sunny today, 76 and 48. A few clouds on Tuesday the 22nd, 73 and 59. Wednesday the 23rd, 79 and 41. Thursday the 24th, 62 and 34. Friday the 25th, 67 and 43. And a few more clouds on Saturday the 26th, 70 and 53. Neighbor, there's your ag weather, using the little town of Floresville as our example of down on the farm country. Neighbors, here's a quick reminder from Down on the Farm and McCoy's. Do you need stock panels? Well, your local McCoy's has them. The 50-inch high by 16-foot long stock panel for $22.49. The 48-inch high, 16-foot long utility panel for $53.99. And the 34-inch high by 16-foot long hog panel for $24.99. For photos and specifications, go to your local McCoy's store. For the location of that store, go to mccoys.com. Neighbor, here's a beef cattle fact from Texas A&M's AgriLife Extension Service. Did you know that cows in their last third of gestation should only be limited to grazing for 2 hours a day on cool season annual grasses? Growing cattle, stockers, and replacement heifers should have access to well-formulated high-calcium minerals. A lack of calcium is often a growth-limiting factor in that situation. If adequate forage is available, cow-calf pairs can be grazed full-time on cool season annual grasses. And again, cows in the last third of gestation should only be limited to grazing for 2 hours a day on those cool season annuals. This winter pasture management beef cattle fact brought to you by the Texas Agricultural Extension Service. Neighbor, let's take a look at cotton while we have a second before we get busy with livestock market operator reports. The cotton market sharply lower today, fearing the possible outbreak of a new strain of COVID in the UK. Overnight, the British invoked strict new safety measures, including shutting off air travel with Europe. The British government is holding emergency meetings today to make other determinations. The move has unnerved the world's financial markets, of course, London, one of those big financial markets. And the Dow is also, looks like it's unnerved. It's dropped over 500 points as well. Of course, the cotton market was already in a technical overbought situation, so a modest decline was to be expected this abbreviated Christmas week. However, selling volume for cotton has been huge today. The cotton market will observe the Christmas holidays both Thursday and Friday. Now, for today, close in support for cotton, the March contract, 74.30 and then 74, with resistance at 77.50 and 78. The estimated volume, 22,081 contracts. The overnight and morning volume, though, so far, about 17,350, according to Keith Brown from DTN and Commodity Consultants. Neighbor, now it's time for a story of ag interest from one of our ag information providers.
The winter wheat crop is growing despite the drought. I'm Kerry Martin with Focus on Agriculture on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. It's been a very dry year in the Texas High Plains, but there's been just enough precipitation to get the winter wheat crop started. James Hunt reports from Amarillo.
Here in the early going, Steely Fischbacher of Texas Wheat Producers is receiving encouraging reports.
When I do talk to farmers, they sound pretty optimistic about what the wheat looks like in the field at this point. Given the conditions that we've seen, most of the reports that I'm hearing are pretty decent.
Now that's nice to hear. And for farmers who anticipate growing their wheat for grain production, prices have risen to levels where it's maybe time to contemplate a little marketing.
The last time that we saw futures prices above $5.50 was August of 2018.
However, the winter wheat season in the Texas High Plains is a long one, and those same farmers who tell Fischbacher their fields look good right now are also expressing concern about the dry forecast for the months ahead.
I think we are all very aware of that we just don't have the subsoil moisture that we would need to get this crop up and going once we move into warmer temperatures in the springs.
What happens precipitation-wise between now and March will be a big factor as farmers decide whether to keep growing their wheat for grain or take an earlier exit like cutting it for hay. In Amarillo, James Hunt for the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
You're looking for soybeans that give you the yield you want. But when it comes to fighting your toughest weeds, you also need flexibility. Introducing Extend Flex soybeans. Elite genetics with triple tolerance to dicamba, glyphosate, and glufosinate. The yield you want, the choice you need. Learn more at extendflexsoy.com. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to insure your home for Texas-size weather. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Cotton prices have been on a bullish tear over the last couple of weeks thanks to a decrease in cotton production both here in the U.S. and around the world. Dr. Jody Campeacci, Vice President of Economics and Policy Analysis for the National Cotton Council, says cotton consumption is on the increase.
In the latest USDA report, 2020 world consumption was increased to 116 million bales, mostly due to a 1 million bale increase in India and a 500,000 bale increase in China.
And when you combine that with the drop in production, the result is cotton prices in the mid to high 70s. I'm Kerry Martin on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Neighbor, my mouth's watering and I can hear your stomach rumbling. It's time for Hop Sing to feed us chicken fried steak, jalapeno gravy, plenty of Nanny's yeast rolls, a cold cucumber salad, cup of coffee, glass of iced tea, whichever you prefer. We just prefer to invite Russell Heller from Lexington Livestock Commission Company to eat with us. Russell, fill your plate, but before you take the first bite of Hop Sing's chicken fried steak and a drink of iced tea, tell us how you sold them in Lexington Saturday.
Yes, sir. We had 903 total head with 91 cows.
Let's walk the pens.
All right. The Packer cows, thinner ones, brought 15 to 30, and the better cows brought 31 to 55. On the steer and bull calves, 300 to 400 pounds, 110 to 195. 4 to 5 weights, 105 to 175. 5 to 6 weights, $1 to 155. 6 to 7 weights, 95 to 132. 7 to 8 weights, 90 to 124. On the heifers, 3 to 400 pound heifers, 105 to 150. 4 to 5 weights, $1 to 140. 5 to 6 weights, 95 to 135. 6 to 7 weights, 90 to 120. 7 to 8 weight heifers, 85 to $1.12.
Good. What was the mood of the market?
Yes, sir. I mean, people were still finishing some orders for the end of the year, and the market was active.
What's their attitude toward coming back after the holiday? What did any of them say would be on their agenda?
I mean, a few people are still going to buy some cattle. We had 1 inch and 4/10 Saturday morning, and I mean, around the area we got a pretty good rain, so maybe that'll get some ryegrass and some wheat going again.
Good. The next sale that we have will be on the 9th. Is that what we decided?
Yes, sir, January the 9th.
All right. Well, tell everybody happy holidays and how to get a hold of you.
You can get me on my cell, and that number is 979-820-7002.
We're on the line with Sam from D&D. Sam, I've never seen as much Stay Tough fence in my whole life.
That's right, Larry. Right now we have the largest supply of American T-post and the largest supply of Stay Tough fencing in Texas.
Tell us how to take advantage of all that product.
All you got to do, Larry, is call me at 830-379-7340 and ask for one of our friendly staff members.
Neighbor, there are cattle in the alleyway still being shipped out from Milam County Livestock Auction, Cameron, Texas. Kenny, how did that Friday sale turn out for y'all?
Well, it was good, Larry. We got along real well, even with the little special we had for the replacement females. And the calf market was pretty good as well.
Good. Let's walk the pens.
Well, we wound up with a total of 2,266 cattle. On the steer cattle, under 300, 169 to 207. 3 to 400 pound steers, 142 to 207. 4 to 500 pound steers, 123 to 207.50. And over 580 to $1.70. On the heifers, under 300, 140 to 205. 3 to 400 pound heifers, 125 to 161. 4 to 500 pound heifers, $1 to $1.52. And over 570 to $1.41. On your Packer cows, from 20 to 58. Packer bulls, 50 to 94. On your stocker cows, on the bred cows, from 700 to 1850. And on the cow-calf pairs, from 900 to 2,050.
Good deal. Well, what was the pulse of the market, both on the regular sale and the replacements?
It was good. There was a few companies that were out, on the calf side of it, and made it a little bit tougher in a few spots. But as a rule, the really good cattle sold very, very well on the yearlings.
Mm-hmm.
And on the replacement females, kind of the same way. We had a bunch of good bred heifers, and they got along real well with them. Had a few really good pairs, and they sold pretty good. Had some bulls, some Charolais bulls that just brought it all.
Good, good. Hey, we caught some moisture down here, did y'all?
Yes, we had about an inch of rain. Started Saturday morning and finished up kind of Saturday evening late. I had about an inch at the house, and I haven't really talked to anybody around to see what they had, but I think it was pretty general.
Good. Well, that an inch of rain always does anybody good, doesn't it?
Correct, especially this time of year.
Yep. My old great-granddad said there was only two people that don't like a rain. One's a fool, and the other's a newcomer. Well, he was right.
I believe you're right.
He was
yes,
right.
Sir.
What can we expect when we come back?
I think we'll have a few cattle. I think there's been some cattle that have been held over. We'll probably run a few cattle, first part of January for sure is my thinking. I think the market will be better. If you study the old rule of thumb on how these markets work, it's the market's usually higher after Thanksgiving and usually higher after Christmas, and we usually move forward and get a little higher as we move into the spring. So if we can get a little moisture and keep some of these wheat pastures going and everything, and get a place where we can turn some of these cattle back out, I think it'll stay pretty good, Larry.
Good deal. Well, Kenny Mingus, Milam County Livestock Auction Cameron, tell everybody how to get a hold of y'all.
You bet. We'll be a little bit in and out of the office here during the holidays, but for the most part, Monday through Wednesday at 254-697-6697. You can follow us on our webpage at milamcountylivestockauction.com or catch us on Facebook. Also, we will be closed for 2 weeks. We'll miss, I believe it's the 24th or 25th, and then we'll miss January 1st and come back on January the 8th.
We appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, Larry. Thank you for what you do, and thank you to all our customers.
Thank y'all, too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Neighbor, here's another special feature from one of our Farm and Ranch news providers.
Banded birds. I'm Jessica Domel with the Texas Wildlife Radio Show on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. If you bag a banded bird during this segment of dove season, be sure to report it to the proper authorities. Owen Fitzsimmons, Webless Migratory Game Bird Program Leader for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, joins us with more.
If you bag a mourning dove or white-winged dove that is banded, go to www.reportband.gov to report that. That information is pretty critical to how we manage doves at the national scale. The Eurasian Colored Dove banding is a private project with the Texas Dove Hunters Association. They have a contest where you can win different prizes if you do bag a bird that has a band, so check out those guys for that information.
Reporting the take of a banded bird helps government officials learn more about the bird itself and the species.
The data that we use from band returns, that's essentially how we estimate population abundance at the national level, and that's ultimately what we use to set regulations. So it's critically important that if you do find a banded bird or if you do harvest a banded bird, that you do report that.
Again, you can report those at reportband.gov. Those bands will usually have the URL, which is reportband.gov, followed by a unique number that allows you to report it. Eurasian colored doves with an orange band on them should be reported to the Texas Dove Hunters Association at bandedbirdchallenge.com. The bands are part of a project to study the movements, habitat, and preferences of the invasive Eurasian collared doves. Hunters who have entered the Banded Bird Challenge could win a new truck, scholarship, fishing trip, or other prize for reporting their banded bird. Again, that's at bandedbirdchallenge.com. Today's comments were from Owen Fitzsimmons with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department.
What's impressive about Pioneer corn product development? We're here in Ogle County, Illinois, with a piece of amazing technology. No, not the shovel. The technology I'm talking about is in the seed. It's the power of Pioneer brand Chrome products. A Pioneer sales rep is digging up this root ball to make a point. Chrome products represent incredible engineering. This technology works across more Pioneer germplasm than previous triple stack products. So you get this balance between protection and performance. Above and below ground defense with above and beyond results. Oh, Here it is. Now this is what you want to see. Healthy roots. Chrome technology. Another thing that makes Pioneer, Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
You have been listening to the Texas Wildlife Radio Show. For the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network, I'm Jessica Domel.
Neighbor, let's check the grains before we go. Number 2 or better, Milo through Corpus in December, March plus 250, 12.28. We'll call Progresso $11. Yellow corn through Corpus in December, March plus 45, 482 and a quarter. We'll call Progresso 9 and a quarter. Hard red winter wheat through Corpus in December, March plus 70, 639 and a quarter. We'll call Houston March plus 95, 664 and a half. Number 1 beans through Houston, December, January delivery, January plus a dime, 1230. We'll call Placido January less 60, 1160. Remembering that the Corpus Christi Public Elevator and ADM will be closed all this next week for Milo trucks. 16,502 bale of West Texas cotton sold on Friday. And neighbor, that cotton sold well, 74.03. And I guess the show went well too. I hope you think so. I'm Larry Marble and you're my neighbor. Neighbor will be back tomorrow morning on this Down on the Farm affiliate station with a big old heaping helping of Ag Breakfast about daylight.